In the past video, we talked about resilience. We defined health not as perfection, but as margin. Margin to rotate, margin to miss a meal, margin to travel, margin to adapt. And if you watched that and thought, that makes sense, but how do I actually build that? That's what today is about. Because resilient is not something you buy, it's something you build slowly through patterns. And the same way fragility develops quietly over time, resilience develops quietly too. So today, I want to show you what builds it and just as importantly, what accidentally erodes it. Before we talk about building resilience, we need to talk about how it gets lost because most fragility is created with good intentions. Feeding the same protein for years, it feels safe. No rotation, no variation, no change, but biologically, constant exposure to one protein can increase the likelihood of sensitivity over time. The immune system sees the same antigen repeatedly, and microbiome sees the same substrates repeatedly. Tolerance narrows, sameness feels stable, but over long period, it can create dependency. Overcorrecting every minor symptom. Lose stool one day, new food, new supplement, new restriction. The gut never stabilizes. Resilience requires recovery cycles. If we interrupt every fluctuation, the system never adapts. Not every symptom require a corrective intervention. Chronic elimination. Without reintroduction, elimination diet can be powerful tools. But when dogs are restricted indefinitely, the tolerance window shrinks. Short-term clarity can become long-term fragility if expansion never happens. Supplement stacking. Probiotics, enzymes, immune blends, omega oils layered onto instability. Resilience is built at the system level, not through constant additions. Feeding trends. Instead of context, exotic proteins, constant novelty, social media driven shifts. The complexity does not equal resilience. Often simplicity builds stronger systems. Transition. So if fragility is built through sustained sameness, overreaction, chronic restriction, inflammatory load, context blind feeding, how do we intentionally build resilience? Let's slow it down. There are 5 pillars, and we're going to go through them carefully. Pillar 1, structured protein rotation. Not chaos, not novelty chasing, not 10 proteins in a month. Structured rotation. For a healthy adult dog, that typically means 4 to 5 well-tolerated proteins, cycled predictability over weeks to months. Why does this work biologically? Because immune system adapts through exposure patterns. When a dog eats the same protein for 3 to 4 years straight, the immune system repeatedly encounters the same antigen. For many dogs, that's fine until one day it's not. But that's when the guardian says they did great for years until suddenly they didn't. That's narrowing tolerance. Now compare that to resilience. A resilient dog eats chicken for a month, transitions to turkey, moves to beef, returns to chicken later, minor adjustment, then stability. Controlled variation builds tolerance. But this is important. You do not rotate during active inflammation. Baseline first, stability first, then diversity layered in. Rotation builds resilience when applied strategically. Stable base, gradual change. Resilience is not built through shock. It's built through intelligent transition. Here's a common pattern I see. Mild itching appears within a week. New protein, new topper, new probiotic, new treat restriction. 5 variable shift. Tool softens. Now we don't know why. When too many variables change at once, clarity disappears, and clarity builds resilience. Here's what gradual change looks like. Introduce one new protein, keep everything else constant, allow 2 to 3 weeks, watch trends, not single stools. One off day is not failure. 3 weeks of instability means the system isn't tolerating the input. Resilient digestion tolerates controlled novelty. Fragile digestion collapses under unpredictability. Predictability builds tolerance. Fat quality and inflammatory load. Inflammation erodes resilience, and one quiet contributor is fat quality. When fats sit for too long storage periods, are exposed to light, or oxidized over time, they increase oxidative stress. Oxidative stress increases inflammatory signaling. Chronic low-grade inflammation shrinks tolerance windows. Now compare 2 dogs. Dog A, fresh food, proper storage, stable fat source, no rancid odor shift. While we have dog B, who has bag open for 2 months, stored near heat or sunlight, high-fat formula slowly oxidizing. Dog B may not show dramatic illness, but low-grade irritation accumulates. Resilience requires reducing baseline irritation This is not about eliminating fat. Dogs thrive on fat. It's about stabilizing it. Named sources, proper storage, reasonable turnover, lower inflammatory. Load equals margin, margin equals resilience. Avoiding over-sterilization. This connects directly to our FDA and digestion discussion. Dogs are not designed for sterile input. Their stomach acid is more acidic than ours. Their gut transient time is shorter. Their immune system evolved with environmental exposure. This does not mean reckless exposure. It means managed exposure. There is middle ground between obsessive sterilization and reckless indifference. If every input is hyper-controlled, immune tolerance narrows. If exposure is unmanaged, overload occurs. Resilience lives in the middle. Clean preparation services, yes. Hand washing, yes. Cold chain awareness, yes, but not panic. The goal is adaptive tolerance, not sterility. Resilience is contextual. A working dog has different needs than a sedentary indoor dog. A growing puppy has mineral sensitivity that adults don't. A stressed dog may temporarily lose digestive stability. Feeding trends ignore context. Resilience respects it. Ask, what life stage, activity level, what stress load, what's the environment? A high-fat performance diet may build resilience in one dog, yet overwhelm another. Resilience is individualized. Structured rotation builds tolerance. Gradual change builds microbiome stability. Fat quietly reduces inflammatory load. Managed exposure trains immunity. Context-aware feeding respects biology. Together, they create margin. And margin is resilience. Let's make this visible. Resilience looks like stable stool across rotation, skin flares that are less intense, fast recovery after stress, stable body condition without micromanagement, no panic if one protein becomes unavailable. Fragility looks like one treat causes collapse, one missed meal creates chaos, constant dietary micromanagement, extreme restriction dependency. Health creates margin. Margin is safety. If you are applying this framework and want structured guidance, my newsletter walks through these systems calmly. And if you are unsure about feeding, and if you are not sure about feeding amounts while building resilience, use the calculator at drghunaim.com. Clarity reduces reactivity. Resilience is not built through fear. It's not built through extreme restriction. And it's not built through chasing perfection. It's built through structured variation, balanced nutrition, reduced inflammatory load, gradual exposure, context-aware feeding. You're not trying to create a sterile system. You're building an adaptable one. Because adaptable systems do not need constant protection. They need thoughtful support. And once margin exists, feeding becomes calmer, less reactive, less fragile, more confident. In the next video, we're going to talk about elimination diets, when they clarify and when they quietly shrink tolerance instead of building it. I'm Dr. Ghunaim. Clarity comes before change, and understanding always comes before action.